Did you know it used to be taboo for TV shows and movies to show married couples sharing the same bed? I Love Lucy is a show that was famous for this trope, where the husband and wife slept in separate beds pushed multiple feet apart. The networks didn't want anything to even hint at the presence of sex, at the moment or later on, even if the couple was married and had children, which is why you often saw a nightstand in between, to shut down the idea that they were pushing their beds together later when they were off camera. This traces back to a set of censorship rules called the Hays Code. The Roaring Twenties was a racy time for Hollywood. Films were beginning to mature and deal with adult content. Off-screen, the industry also had a culture of drinking and partying and overindulging. And to make matters worse, Hollywood was hit with multiple massive scandals during this era. Many already felt that the movie industry was morally questionable. And it got worse during the Great Depression because people had less money to see movies, so studios tried luring audiences in with crude films featuring explicit content, violence, and drinking. Multiple crowds were pushing for censorship. Lawmakers, bankers, but especially the religious crowd. Catholics nationwide boycotted movies, which made box office returns plummet. The studios wanted to keep the government and other outside organizations from controlling what was acceptable movie content, so they chose to self-regulate as an alternative. Starting in the mid-30s, the Motion Picture Production Code was introduced as a self-imposed industry set of guidelines for all the motion pictures. It was more commonly known as the Hays Code, named after Will Hays. He was president of the MPPDA, a trade organization formed to rehabilitate Hollywood's image. The code prohibited things like profanity, suggestive nudity, violence, and sex. It also had specific rules around the use of crime, religion, and morality. The code also strictly policed displays of affection. Kisses couldn't last longer than 3 seconds. Depictions of sex outside of marriage were forbidden, but movies were also not allowed to show or insinuate that married couples were having sex. The Hays Code technically only applied to the film industry, but TV took on its own similar version of the Hays Code as a way to self-regulate and avoid certain government interference. Even though Lucy and Ricky of the show I Love Lucy were portrayed by real-life married couple Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, for most of the show's 6 seasons, they were shown sleeping in separate beds. When Lucille Ball got pregnant in real life, the show had to incorporate her pregnancy into the plot, but the word pregnant was banned. The discussion of pregnancy was considered sexually suggestive. In its place, they had to use synonyms and euphemisms, such as expecting and with child. Towards the end of the show, as the code's rules loosened, they eventually could push their twin beds together, but they continued to use separate blankets tucked down in the middle of the 2 beds. These rules around media censorship in film eventually dwindled, and TV followed around the same time. The Hays Code was abolished in 1968, and the MPAA replaced it with the rating system that we're more familiar with today, with G, PG, PG-13, and R.